Hi there, welcome to another edition of BTN. Today we're going to look at my tactical approach, outlining some pitfalls for the new and offering essentially the best way I can think of to start off a new season. So let's begin. The best place to get your feet wet with tactics is actually on FMC. Here you don't have to worry about fluidity. A team actually is fluid in any tactic you set up. The only thing you need to worry about is getting the right players in and setting up the right tactic. So before you actually do your tactics or work on tactics, it's always a good idea for you to spend some time getting to know your squad. The attributes that you shortlist for your team will depend largely on the level of football that you're playing. Here I have Atletico Madrid, and because they're playing the Premier Liga, I have a longer list of attributes. If I were managing a lower league side, I probably would shorten this down to maybe passing acceleration, first touch composure. That's about the most I would look at, because the other attributes, if you have too long a list, you're going to spend forever just finding a play and you probably will never get the game started. The best way to get this done is to keep it simple. Really, don't make things too complicated. You're gonna be glad that you made it simple at the start instead of making it overcomplicated. So, you know, first you list down these attributes. It may look like a complicated screen, but it depends a lot on your workflow, how you set things up, having a clear idea, having a plan, and understanding your players. The first step always has to be understanding your players and what you have at your disposal. When you go to the squad screen, you probably will end up with a screen that looks like this. Okay, so the first thing you might even end up with a screen that looks like this. You're gonna have a lot of players on loan. Forget the players on loan. The ones who are not at the club. Ones who are unavailable, they're injured. Okay, put them aside. But here I'm trying to understand who I have as a player. So make the screen easier to understand. Second thing you want to do is start from an area that you're going to look at. So I'm going to look at my defenders first. So here I've got my defenders. I need to know what these guys can do and how they can play. I'm only going to look at these attributes: tackling, marking, bravery, and work rate. So I'm gonna look at all these, and I immediately notice that okay, I'm not too bad. Okay, I've got like 4 central defenders who can play, and I have Saul, who can be a backup defender. He's not that great, but yeah, he can if push comes to shove. I also have Jesus Games. He can play as a central defender if needed. So we have maybe 3 starters and 2 who can play as a backup. Then I'm looking at my wingbacks, and I look at my wingbacks and I see I've got 2 decent wingbacks. They're all right. Then I look at crossing, passing, anticipation, dribbling to see how good they're going to be going up. Based on acceleration off the ball, give me really good clues as to whether they can beat the man. On the whole, they look fine, but I might want to think about composure. It's decent, 13. I'm not expecting to be a striker. But their bravery, 12 and 11, for 2 fullbacks, that's decent, not great. I would have preferred it if it's a bit higher, but I'll have to live with this. Tackling, on the other hand, they're not that fantastic as tacklers. They're 13 and 13. If they come up against really pacey strikers, they will need their anticipation, okay, and their concentration to get them out of trouble. So, okay, they're decent. They're not fantastic. They're good enough. This tells me straight away that I can play any system that employs 2 central defenders, or 3 central defenders, and so I can play a backline which is a 4 or a 5. Okay, though that's my defenders. Now I'm going to look at my defensive midfielders. So Saul and Jesus, I have to rule them out straight away. Okay, I know that they are defenders and they can play as defensive midfielders. At least Saul can, so he's going to be a potential defensive midfielder. So if I shortlist his tackling again and his anticipation, so the best defensive midfielder will probably be Mauro Suarez, because he's got decent teamwork, anticipation, and his tackling is pretty okay. Mm, I like to see like my ball winner in midfield have more than 14. So they're decent. They're not fantastic. They're just okay. So I got Mario Suarez, and then the next tackler in midfield will probably be Sal. So my two ball winners are most likely going to be these two guys. Okay, it's it's quite kind of disappointing to be honest with you, because this just tells me that as a team, um I can't play a 4-2-3-1. There's no way this team can play 4-2-3-1. They're just not going to be good enough. I need numbers in midfield. I can't even play a two-man midfield, or one ball winner may not even be enough. So I either have um four strung across the middle of the pitch, minimum three or even five. So I could opt for a 5-3-2, 3-4-3, 3-5-2, 3-4-1-2. These immediately tell me what I can play in my defense from my defensive third and my middle third. So it's time now to look at what I have in terms of attacking midfielders and attackers. All right, so let's see. So here I'm looking at the first thing I want to know is, do they have the pace to, to give people a headache? Okay, so Mario Mandzukic may have a lot of pace, but his acceleration is 13. That means that he's not good from okay, if he's won the ball and he's got a defender next to him, he's not that fantastic. He's not gonna be able to turn and dash off. That's not his strength. Okay, he's the kind of guy that you want to send a ball over the top. Okay, and he's gonna be already running and he's gonna be fast. I've done my defensive midfielders or my ball winners. So now I want to look at. I'm just gonna isolate just the strikers first. All right, so it gives me an idea of what I have up front and whether I can find link players. Okay, so I'm going to look at finishing first, and I have okay, I basically have two players who have 16 for finishing. So chances are I'll be depending on them. Composure is 15 for both the players. Griezmann is fantastic with his first touch, so he's definitely a starter. He's off the ball running is decent at 14. His acceleration is 15, which is pretty good. He gets away from his man. He can get away from his man. He's off the ball and his passing are great stats. His composure is 15, anticipation is 14, teamwork is 12. Look, all around, he's a good player. He's definitely a first choice to start. And he can play a variety of roles. He can be an F9. He can be a DLF. If his strength is good, I haven't checked that yet. Okay. Another decent striker would definitely be Raul Jimenez. He's got decent finishing. First touch is 14. His passing is 13, half decent. He's off the ball is pretty good. He tends to find a lot of space. His passing and acceleration are average. So, okay, not bad. We've got two decent strikers. And what about Mario Mandzukic? Now, Mario Mandzukic, he doesn't look like a player that's going to score you a lot of goals, but you can get players like him to outperform. You need to fit him into a system where you use those strengths that he has and you put him around other players who can negate the bad things that he has in his attributes. It's quite challenging and it can be done. He does look like he's a very brave player with he's got a great work rate, so those qualities stand out for him. The challenge will be to get the best out of him. So now it's time for me to start taking a look at the middle of the park a bit and look for guys who can play as playmakers in the middle of a four-man midfield. Okay, we're down now to a few players. We have essentially Coke, Arda Turan, Thiago. Okay, the first thing I want to look at with this guys is they're all going to be midfielders, so passing. 16, 16, 16, they all can pass. Tackling 14, 14, 14, only Sal and Coke can pass, tackle the ball, but in passing, Sal and Coke, they're pretty okay. Anticipation, they're good. Teamwork, they have decent work rate. Okay, Coke is a workhorse, he's brave, he'll tackle. Okay, both of them can tackle. So, alright, I've got Coke and Sal right now as potentially two guys who can play as MCs. And then I'm looking at Mario Suarez. His passing is 13. His cross is first touch is 15 and composure 15, 16. I like these stats. Mario Suarez is actually a very reliable player in the middle of the park. He's not going to be very fast. I don't really need him to be. He's not going to find a lot of space as he's only 12 off the ball. So box to box running is not his strong suit. So he's more suited to play a support role as a midfielder, or he's just decent as a defensive midfielder. These two guys can actually be box to box players because they're off the ball running. They've got decent pass acceleration and tackling. So I'll be looking at that. So okay, Arda to run, everyone's favorite. His marking is 6 and 10, so he's basically just an EMC. I can't really play him in any other role. If I wanted to play a 4-4-2, I'd really be needing him to be supported by players who can tackle on his left and his right. So basically, that's how I analyze my team and know what kind of systems that they potentially can play. This is especially helpful when you're just starting out with a team, in pre-season. That wraps up the first part on squad selection. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, you can always drop me a note at my blog, addictedtofm.com, or you can ask questions here. Please subscribe to this channel and let me know if you have any other areas you want me to cover in the next few videos that I do. We will continue with the next part on the tactical development of Atletico. For now, guys, I'm out of here. Catch you soon.